What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's begin with Conor McGregor gets called out in interview. Joaquin Buckley extended his winning run to 4 on the bounce when he beat Nursultan Ruziboev by way of decision in the co-main event in his hometown of St. Louis this past weekend. The number 11 ranked welterweight has now won 7 of his last 9 and is steadily building a strong reputation as a dangerous contender at 170 pounds. Numansa managed to raise quite a few eyebrows during his post-fight interview, however, as he said,
"But it's a massive name. There's only one name you should call out if you're on this mic, a powerful name. That name is Conor McGregor. I want you. You fighting at 170, but you ain't fighting a lightweight, welterweight. You fighting a lightweight. Don't boo now. You fighting a lightweight midget. Come at me, bro. Come at me. You said you built your weight up, but you're bullying Sean O'Malley and Ryan Garcia. Come and bully me, dog. Come and bully me."
During the post-fight press conference, UFC President Dana White was asked about the possibility of this fight actually happening, and he had a very short answer.
So Buckley did say that he called out McGregor. Any chance of that in the future? What do you think?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buckley was asked afterward if he had a more realistic option up his sleeve for his next matchup.
Gilbert Burns, I think, is a beautiful fight. It's a beautiful matchup. I don't know when he's going to be cleared or when he's going to be ready, but Gilbert Burns, definitely.
Fans ridiculed Buckley online for his call-out of the Notorious, and one in particular seemed to approve far more of Gilbert Burns' option as he tweeted, "This should have been the right call-out from the start. I think right now he makes easy work out of Burns. Buckley is entering his prime and Burns is getting out of it despite Burns look good against JDM. Buckley needs to aggressively get that Burns fight." Next up, Dana White gets called out for comments. Another fighter who got his hand raised at UFC St. Louis was heavyweight Waldo Cortez Acosta. Salsa Boy eked out a decision win over unbeaten prospect Robelis de Spain, but it seems that Dana White was not overly impressed with his performance.
He won,
That's true.
but if you had to pick all the fights on the card, and that one opened the show. You open the show heading into the, we're live on ESPN. You're opening the show. It's your time to shine and show everybody who you are, and that's your performance. Yeah, I don't know. You guys tell me, if you go through the card and you had to pick, if I was giving out a bonus for this fight of the night, who would you guys give it to?
Fans were quick to chastise White for his comments, as one tweeted, "Man takes credit for UFC 300 but refuses to take responsibility for signing fighters who aren't UFC quality." Prominent MMA journalist Luke Thomas had a very similar view as he responded with, "Good fights, this is what we do. Bad fights, this is what they did." The general consensus among fans on social media seems to be that White was hoping Robelis de Spain would continue his winning run in the heavyweight division. Shut down a hype train and taunted de Spain on the feet. Dana's salty because he thought he had a cash cow on his hands. Horrible take. He's salty. His heavyweight hype train got exposed. Oh, your shiny new toy got broken? Cry about it, Dana. Maybe your boy Robelis need to attend wrestling class at least once before fight. Robelis de Spain knocked out Josh Parisian in his debut in the Octagon at UFC 299 in March. Prior to that, the former Cuban Olympic Taekwondo fighter had won his first 4 professional MMA bouts, all via first-round knockout. Cortez Acosta was making his 6th appearance in the Octagon, and is now on a 3-fight winning streak after also dispatching of Lukas Brzezinski and Andrei Arlovski within the past year. Next up, UFC fighter reveals bad news. Polish UFC star Mateusz Rebecki suffered a brutal defeat at the hands of Brazilian veteran Diego Ferreira in St. Louis this past weekend. Ferreira stopped Rebisti in the final 10 seconds of the 3rd round to hand him his first defeat inside the Octagon and snap his incredible 16-fight winning streak. The Dana White Contender Series alumni took to Instagram and shared a picture of his facial injuries along with the caption, "Life." Rebecki came to UFC fans' attention when he submitted Rodrigo Lidio in the first round of their Contender Series bout, and he continued his fine form by beating fellow debutant Nick Fiore in his first official fight inside the Octagon. He then followed that up with 2 impressive finishes over Loic Radzhabov and Roosevelt Roberts in the second half of 2023. His last defeat came in 2014. Many fans expected 39-year-old Ferreira to be another stepping stone in the rise of the Polish phenom. Ferreira was last seen in action a year ago when he knocked out Michael Johnson, but prior to that had been on a 3-fight losing streak inside the UFC's lightweight division. Also this week, UFC Fight Updates. Kevin Holland will venture back up to middleweight at UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey on June 1st when he takes on Polish star Michael Oleschuk. Trailblazer went on a 5-fight winning streak at 185 pounds in 2020, but after losing consecutive fights to Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori, he made the move to welterweight. He won 4 of his last 6 in that division, but after recent defeats at the hands of Jack Della Maddalena and Michael Venom Page, it looks like a move back up to middleweight is in the cards. Oleschuk has been trading wins and losses in the octagon since 2017, and was most recently in action when he lost to Michel Pereira at UFC 299 in March. In other fight news, heavyweight legend Andrei Arlovski's fight against Martin Buday has been pushed back and will now take place at UFC 303 on the undercard of Conor McGregor v. Michael Chandler. The bout was originally set to take place in the Apex on June 15, but will now be part of the massive pay-per-view event during International Fight Week on June 29th. 45-year-old former heavyweight champion Arlovski will be looking to get back to winning ways after losing his last 3 fights as he takes on Slovak fighter Buday, who was stopped by Shamil Gaziev in his last outing in December. Next up, Shara Magomedov calls out UFC fighter. Middleweight newcomer Shara Magomedov was hoping to continue his winning start to his UFC career against Ihor Portieria when the UFC visits Saudi Arabia on June 22nd, but it looks like Bullet is gonna need a new dance partner. Portieria was admitted inside the opening round against Michel Pereira at UFC 301 in Rio de Janeiro just over a week ago after some impressive acrobatics by the Brazilian, and is seemingly no longer making the trip to Riyadh. Magomedov has turned his attention to Pereira and wants him to step into Portieria's shoes for the historic event next month. He tweeted, "Michel Pereira, you damn acrobat, I lost my opponent because of you. Everyone knows that you can do backflips now, but UFC is not a circus. You made an illegal move and now you have to be punished." The UFC recently announced that Pereira would be facing Roman Dolidze at UFC Louisville next month, but Pereira shot down that suggestion as he posted on Instagram, "I didn't agree to this fight. The man trains with me every day at the PI, at Extreme Couture. He agreed to it, but I haven't. To me, it's not the moment to fight him. If he agreed to it, that's his problem. I was surprised he agreed to it. Really. To me, in my head, he's a training partner, a friend. I see I'm not." News has also emerged that the UFC have agreed a deal to put on another event in Saudi Arabia once next month's show is in the books, and Dana White confirmed this while speaking at the post-fight press conference in St. Louis this past weekend.
It's rare that a deal gets extended before you even have your first event. How exactly did this one come around that they wanted to just keep going into business with you?
Well, it started with Power Slap. They wanted Power Slap. I got in there and started talking to them, and then we did another UFC fight too.
They're talking about an event maybe later this year, next year. Is that going to be a pay-per-view or is that another fight night for them?
Fight night. Yeah, they're both fight nights.
And finally today, Dana White breaks silence on Jon Jones. UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones is edging ever closer to a return to the octagon. He was scheduled to make the first defense of his belt against former champion Stipe Miocic at UFC 295 back in November, but he suffered a torn pectoral tendon 2 weeks prior to the bout, which has kept him out of action since. In his absence, British heavyweight contender Tom Aspinall stepped in on short notice to fill the main event slot in Madison Square Garden and knocked out Sergey Pavlovich in the first round to claim the interim heavyweight title. Aspinall spent the weeks and months afterwards pleading for a unification bout with Jones upon his return later this year, but it seems both Jones and the UFC are sticking to their guns and pressing forward with plans to fight Miocic first. Bones recently caused further controversy on X when created a poll asking fans if they would rather see him fight Aspinall or current light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira after the Stipe fight is done and dusted. Many fans berated Jones and accused him of trying to duck Aspinall, but Jones continued to make the case for a fight with Poatan. During the post-fight presser at UFC St. Louis, Dana White confirmed that Jones will definitely be facing Miocic on his return, and he also seemed to confirm that the fight will take place in the venue that it was originally scheduled for, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's Stipe. I think John's just asking, who do you like? What do you think? Kind of just feeling it out and seeing what people think. But he knows he's fighting Stipe.
Stipe said that might be in New York. Is that about right?
Sounds right.
Jones won the belt by submitting Ciryl Gane in the first round back in March of 2023. If the Miocic fight happens as expected in November, it'll be his first fight in 20 months and only his third fight in 5 years. Jon Jones first won the light heavyweight title when he defeated Mauricio Shogun Rua back in 2011, and the disqualification loss he suffered to Matt Hamill in 2009 remains the only defeat on his record to this day. Colby Covington calls out Charles Oliveira to a welterweight fight. During a recent podcast, Colby Covington revealed that he wants to fight Charles Oliveira next after Oliveira announced that he wants to move up to welterweight. Here's what Colby had to say.
All the shots of who I want to fight, when I want to fight, and we'll make the biggest and best fight happen. I want legacy fights. I want I think a guy like Charles Oliveira makes sense. You know, he was out there saying the other day that he wants to come up to welterweight. So I'm the king of Brazil, man. Everybody knows I run that country. So all the women, you know, love me. All the men in Brazil want to be like me. So Charles Oliveira, you want this fight? You want to really come up to welterweight? You want big fights? Let's see if you're about it, or if you just talk, or you want to come up here and walk the walk. Let's see.
Israel Adesanya reveals shocking news. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, Izzy shared that he's back in training and is improving on his grappling skills. He also said that his mindset is back in a better place and he's taking it day by day. Here's what Izzy had to say.
You guys call preseason now, which is getting ready so we can get into camp fit, stronger, faster. I'm just taking every day like one at a time. I'm not trying to look too far into the future. I'm not trying to look past a week. Yeah, I just take things as they come. I deal with things as they come, and it feels like I'm living in the moment. It makes me just feel like I'm living according to my flow. Yeah.
Top comments. Jones is considered the GOAT, but has gotten away with some sketchy tactics. Rampage ain't lying. How about jiu-jitsu tournaments or boxing days? No way, let's do slap fighting and half-naked roided out men doing gymnastic. Does anyone else skip the Conor versus Chandler stuff? I'll watch the fight, of course, but I'm not excited for it. I lost that hype for his fights a while ago. Curious what others feel. Bobby Green sounds like one of my friends when he's drunk. Is Bobby drunk in this clip? Not picking on what he said, just questioning how he sounds.